Derek Shelton, the manager of the Pirates for about 5 years now, has been let go by the team. The team sucks. They're 12-26 to start the year. They did nothing in the offseason, just like they always do. They lost Jared Jones to start the season, so they haven't seen him yet. They're in shambles, AJ, in a variety of ways right now, and he's just the fall guy.
Yeah, I mean, listen, it's not Derek Shelton's fault. It's not Derek Shelton's fault they didn't bring in any offense this offseason. They didn't go out and try to, with Skeens and Keller, and I know Jared Jones is hurt, and then Chandler coming, but like, it's not his fault. He did the best he could. I think, I mean, listen, I've known Derek Shelton for a really long time, from back when he was a hitting coach forever ago. So he's had a great run. He'll get another job. He's well liked in baseball, and he'll find another job. Will he be a manager again anytime soon? I don't know, but it's not Derek Shelton's fault. I know they fired him, but listen, I love Don Kelly too. I love Don Kelly. I played against Don Kelly for a long time. He's kind of the next guy in waiting. They had him sitting there. They're trying a different voice. I mean, are the Pirates going to the playoffs, Scott Kratz? Probably not.
No, they're not. And that's not Derek Shelton's fault. That's not going to be Don Kelly's fault, who I also think is going to be a great manager. But unlike some of the managers that just recently got fired in the last year, Derek Shelton should get another managerial job, and this time it'll be a job that's not like a tryout job. Because the Pirates essentially said, hey, we want you to make apple juice, but we're going to give you a bunch of lemons. Go at it. Like, to me, the way that you grade how Derek Shelton did, ask the players what they thought of him. Ask the players what it was like for them to come to the park. Ask players who have improved under him how he is as a manager. And to me, that's his resume, not the record that Bob Nutting refused to try to improve for his manager.
Yeah, let's be real. Most people were looking at this team not expecting much, and that's what we're getting. So let's get more here from our FT senior insider, Ken Rosenthal, fresh off of Fair Territory, but more time to digest the news. Ken, I'm assuming you're not surprised, but what do you think about what's been a disaster start to the year for the organization? I'm going to say that, not just the product on the field.
Not at all surprised by this. And while everything AJ and Eric just said is true about Derek Shelton, they were in classic fire the manager territory. They're 12-26. There seems to be a malaise about them. Is it his fault? As AJ said, it's absolutely not his fault. This problem that they have goes so much deeper. It goes to the general manager, who has not done enough with limited resources, and it goes to the owner, who continually provides limited resources. And I just pointed this out on Fair Territory. There are teams in similar financial circumstances. Milwaukee, Tampa Bay, Cleveland. You can even put the A's in that situation right now, or that category. They seem to find a way. They seem to come up with players. They seem to just keep it going in a competitive sense. The A's are new to this, relatively speaking. They're just getting competitive now. But those other three teams, Cleveland, Milwaukee, and Tampa Bay, they're pretty good year after year. If you're the Pittsburgh Pirates, why can't you do that? Now, they don't spend enough, no question. Their offseason was dismal, in my opinion. And then they had injuries on top of that. Spencer Horwitz, their main acquisition, has been out the whole year. But they need to do better. They need to find players. They need to develop players. They need to put together a greater depth of talent than they have. And right now, what's going to happen is the scrutiny is now going to go to Ben Cherington, as it should, in fairness. I just don't know the answers there when the owner is ultimately the biggest problem.
The 5-year plan for Ben Cherington is obviously at the end, and you just mentioned it. Is it unprecedented to think, well, you know what? This guy's done it. He's done it in a sense that you haven't heard any peeps from Ben Cherington saying, well, I haven't really gotten anything. It's been positive. We're pushing in the right direction. That he gets another 5-year plan under Bob Nutting?
I would be shocked if he got another 5 years. And I don't know what his contractual situation is exactly, but I believe, if I'm not mistaken, this is year 6 of this regime, the Cherington-Shelton regime. Nutting, for the past 2 off seasons, has raised expectations, has said he expects more. So from that perspective too, this is not surprising. But at some point, this does fall on the general manager. And then when it falls on the general manager, which it almost inevitably will here, you ask the question, okay, how does this get better? Hard to imagine it's getting better under this owner. And then you're talking about, well, why not sell the team? A lot of people in Pittsburgh want him to sell the team. A lot of people in baseball, I imagine, want him to sell the team because he is not putting out a competitive product. And they can talk about their investment in infrastructure. This is what low revenue teams always do. We're spending in the minors. We're spending on that's fine. There's a major league team too. That's the main product, and that's the product that you have to figure out a way to make competitive.
Ken, you mentioned the Rays and the Guardians and the A's. They have good players, though. They have good players, and they go out and they do supplement him with other good players, right? The Guardians, they went out, they couldn't keep Naylor, so they went out and got Carlos Santana. And they're always making moves to try to get better. And they do sign some free agents, like they brought back Shane Bieber, right? They brought in Alex Cobb last year to try to help. And they do make some moves. So to me, it's apples and oranges because the Pirates, I mean, Tommy Pham, okay, we love Tommy, right? But he's not taking your team to the next level along with what you already have, right? The A's,
AJ,
A's spent money, right? The A's spent money. Like, so to me, this is a complete failure from top to bottom of development. And they've developed some pitchers. We'll give them that, right? But some of their position players haven't done what they thought. O'Neal Cruz comes to mind, right? Why was he not in center field in the minor leagues? So when he gets there, he doesn't have to learn that. So to me, this is just, it's hard to say like, oh, we're going to compare him to this team or that team because this is a different animal. You know, talk about the Rays. The Rays develop, right? So
AJ, here's where the comparison is valid. The comparison is valid because their financial resources are similar. And those teams that you just said make more with less in a way that the Pirates do not. So when a manager is fired, it's an organizational failure. Let's not mistake that. It is an organizational failure when the manager gets fired. And that's true for a big market team or a small market team. It's never just on the manager. But while you're right in saying, yes, those teams spend more money, from a payroll perspective, it's not that dramatic a difference. It's not the Dodgers and the Marlins. And Milwaukee didn't do much this offseason. They seem to find a way to keep it going. Tampa Bay, they signed a guy that hasn't even played yet, Kim, and that was their big expenditure. So you're right. Those teams are more aggressive in the way they go about it, but there's still no excuse for the Pirates to be this far behind those clubs.
Trevor, I need caffeine every day. And for me, it's cold, not hot. So I go cold brew. I've been a Trade coffee customer for a long time now. I don't want to go to the grocery store and get the concentrate. Can you deliver me the kit, please?
Absolutely. Trade can do that for you. Who wants to get the concentrate at the store anyways? You don't even know when that stuff was made. When you can just set it, forget it at home, and have more cold brew coffee than you can ever hope for. I love doing that. It's a fun little activity also, and Trade allows you to do it.
Yes, they hook you up with the best beans specifically for cold brew from top roasters across the U.S. Trade is the #1 coffee destination in the U.S. for both hot and cold coffee drinkers. For a limited time, they're giving away a free Hario cold brewer when you sign up for a cold brew subscription when you go to drinktrade.com/foul. That's drinktrade.com/foul to get your free cold brew maker with select cold brew subscriptions. That's drinktrade.com/foul. So, Ken, Don Kelly takes over as interim manager for the Pirates. And unless there is some miraculous run that he's able to figure out with the same roster, probably going to be sellers at the trade deadline. So how do you see the next month or two playing out for Pittsburgh, assuming that it doesn't get that much better and they're not, I don't know, the Tigers of the second half of the year because it's not the same talent?
It's interesting, Scott. I was just talking to a general manager this morning. And he said, you know what? The Pirates are a team. You can't look at them like the Marlins and Rockies because come the second half of the season, if they get Bubba Chandler in the rotation, if Jared Jones gets healthy and they get some of their offensive players back, Horwitz, kind of Falefa, etc., they'll be a more competitive kind of pesky team. That, I would imagine, is still their idea in making this change. They want to be better. But at the deadline, sure, they will be sellers. And Andrew Heaney, I would imagine, if he keeps pitching well, will be someone who is attractive. Maybe one of their relievers. It's not like that's been a strength for them. So, yeah, they're sellers, but what are they selling? Are they going to sell Brian Hayes or Brian Reynolds or one of those guys? Are they going to sell Paul Skeens? I don't see that happening. So they're in a really interesting and difficult spot because there's not much they can do to improve in that sense. What they need to do, obviously, is draft better, develop better, spend more money. I mean, all of these things. Again, organizational failure.
Okay, Ken, before we get into a different subject, I got a couple things. One, why not just keep Derek Shelton until those guys get there and then see what he can do with a full team? But that's not
okay. No,
because,
AJ, let me answer that. I think in this situation, Derek Shelton seemed to be out of answers. And every night they were talking about we just need to be more consistent and better. Yes, all true. But what they're looking for with Kelly is a spark and a new voice. You see this all the time in the game with hitting coaches, sometimes pitching coaches, often managers. That's all they're looking for here. And again, it's not his fault. I can see the argument for keeping him, but they needed to change something. And this is the first change. I don't expect it will be the last.
Okay, and then let me go to the league-wide question of this, Ken. Is this the first domino to fall? Because we've heard about other managers. You've talked about other managers on the hot seat. One team's done it, and it's a copycat league. Is other teams that are managers might be on that seat? Does this make it easier for them to make a change?
It shouldn't have any effect on any other team. Every team is its own organism. But you're right, AJ. That often does happen. In fact, I often tell the story of when my son was born in 1991, the first 3 days of his life, a manager was fired. It's Cubs, Royals, and then the Orioles. And I was covering the Orioles at the time. And of course, I had to work 2 days after my son was born. But yes, these things do tend to run in waves, and they often take place around this time of the year when the season is getting a little bit more deeper or getting deeper into the season. And this is a little early, maybe. We're about 23% in, usually at the 45% mark or halfway, not halfway, but even before that, things will happen. I would not be surprised to see other managers get fired. Two guys that I thought would be in trouble, Rocco Baldelli and Brandon Hyde. Hyde still could be, I guess, because they can't get out of their own way, but that is purely a question of their rotation not being able to get them any kind of quality at all. Baldelli, his team's playing better, and that's a good sign for the Twins. They're healthy again. So I don't necessarily see either of those happening, but yes, these things do tend to run in waves.
Hey, everybody. Be sure to like and subscribe for more content.
We're back here every weekday, all year long, so do not miss an episode.
The videos are coming in all day. Here's another video you might enjoy.
Baseball the way it should be covered.